So for a few years, I've had a minor reoccurring problem. The problem is parody. I feel like a good parody is one that works to both make fun of a genre and to celebrate it. However, this tends to create a bit of a problem in that, when I want to talk about a lot of parodies, I find that lots of people take the movie or song or whatever completely straight as is, as if it was being serious. Examples that frequently come up are big hit movies like Robocop and Starship Troopers, but more problematic is anime. A great example is Ouran High School Host Club. As it seems to me, a lot of fangirls like to take the show as a completely serious shoujo series. But the most problematic show I've ever tried to convince someone is a great parody is without a doubt Hellsing. I bet a bunch of you Hellsing fans are objecting right this second. But I say this without a doubt, Hellsing's a parody of a lot of anime tropes. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, it does create a certain problem for me. See, the problem with parody is twofold. When you're dissecting a show, first of all, thinking the show over, it's hard to identify the meanings within when I'm questioning whether or not they put it in there ironically. My second problem is with parody is that while a good parody both makes fun of and celebrates the cliche of a medium, the interesting questions behind those cliches tend to be broad and unanswerable. That in mind, take this philosophizing with a grain of salt. So, using my rule of three, broadly, I think that Hellsing took it upon itself to ask a question for the entire medium of anime. A question that could be applied to every anime series ever made. Well, why not? See, Hellsing, and by extension a lot of anime, have the bad but wonderful habit of not explaining things to a logical conclusion. Why did Alucard change Ceres into a vampire in the first place? Well, why not? Why are the Protestants and the Catholics fighting? Well, why not? Why not give Alucard level after level of new power without any explanation? Why not give the frail old man superpowers? The philosophy of why not is something Hellsing has caused me to be pondering on pretty heavily lately, so I'll call my in-depth analysis of the why not a topic for another day. Hell, I might write a book about it. Now, the specific question Hellsing has in mind has been the subject of my personal debate, but ultimately I think it's asking a question about humanity. Now, for my money, the star of Hellsing wasn't Alucard. It was actually Ceres, whom I shall affectionately refer to as the police girl from here on out. Now, here's where the spoilers start, so if you haven't seen the show, beware. Okay, so in episode 1 of Hellsing, in pursuit of a criminal, Alucard shoots and kills the police girl, but for reasons I haven't quite figured out yet, he turns her into a vampire. From the next episode on, she has major issues dealing not only with the details of being a vampire, but with the underground world of ancient horror she's been wrapped up in. So if you ask me, the specific question that Hellsing asks is about the connection between the humanity and the sanity. Or more precisely, does losing humanity necessarily mean that sanity is lost? The answer Hellsing gives is yes, it does. Unless one absolutely strives to hold on to one's sanity. I say this because Police Girl is the only character that really tries to hang on to what makes her human. From Alexander to Incognito to the others, they all embrace the nature of their inhumanity. Sometimes to the point that they don't even remotely resemble human anymore. But what about the morals behind all this? Isn't it wrong to let go of one's humanity like that? Well, Hellsing leaves me thinking that sacrificing one's humanity in order to overcome a specific problem is acceptable, but it does create problems also. Perhaps the real issue lies in what type of problem needs to be overcome. Now, this is a little bit contrived, but the show could be about, well, think of it this way. To a human, the vampire acts seem awful and inhuman, but to a vampire they are completely commonplace. We might extend that to say that the show is a violent version of the allegory of the cave, but like I said, that is a little bit contrived. So on that note, let me recommend a little reading. Now, I was going to recommend a few books about dehumanization, but I think I'm going to save those for an episode where it fits a little better. Let's stick with the narrow philosophy. A book that deals wonderfully with having to adjust to changes in oneself, as well as a bit of that dehumanization I was just talking about, is The Heart of Darkness, perhaps more famous for its movie counterpart, Apocalypse Now. Also, I'm not sure where it's written, but look up Freud's theory of the struggle between the superego and the id. More or less the constant battle between the conscience, the superego, and our animalistic desires, the id. I'm a little unsure of when you guys will get this, but rest assured that I'm still philosophizing in more ways than one.